In my previous life, my girlfriend put on a wedding dress and married her male best friend. When I learned of it, I stormed into the wedding and caused a scene. Everyone at the wedding said I was being unreasonable, railing against a dying patient for no reason. A wedding can be held many times, but the male best friend only has 3 months left to live. Afterward, from my male best friend Jake Miller, I learned that he didn't actually have cancer at all. He was just fooling an idiot. And of course I believed him. I pinned him to the ground and beat him up. My girlfriend Luna Parker, who hurried over, said, "You knew he was sick and you still hit him like that?" My heart was dead as ashes. I took a knife, slaughtered that pair of scoundrels, and then jumped off the building. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of Luna Parker and Jake Miller's wedding. This time, I announced the breakup in public, and Luna Parker panicked. The magnificent wedding hall, with crystal chandeliers refracting blinding light. I stood at the back of the crowd, watching the perfect couple on stage. Luna Parker wore a pristine haute couture wedding gown, a sacred smile on her face, her arm linked with the well-suited man beside her. That man was her male best friend, Jake Miller. He was also the scoundrel I personally stabbed to death in my previous life. The guests erupted in a thunderous applause as the master of ceremonies shouted in a rousing voice. "Now, let's give the warmest round of applause to welcome the groom, Jake Miller, and the bride, Luna Parker." Luna Parker's gaze swept through the crowd, as if searching for something. When she saw me, a barely noticeable flicker of panic crossed her eyes, but it was soon replaced by a look of triumph and calculation. She thought I would still, like in the previous life, rush up like a madman to confront her, be morally coerced by her excuse that Jake Miller only has 3 months to live, then be disgracefully escorted out by security and become the laughingstock of the whole city. She was wrong. A demon returned from hell does not stumble in the same place twice. I straightened my tie, took a long stride, and walked step by step toward the stage. My appearance quieted the noise at the scene a bit. Everyone knew me. Ethan Johnson, the boyfriend who had been dating Luna Parker for 5 years and had reached the point of discussing marriage. A hopelessly devoted man who spent fortunes on her and spoiled her to the heavens. The ultimate simp. George Parker, Luna Parker's father and my future father-in-law, saw my expression change and immediately stood up as if to come stop me. I gave him a reassuring look and walked straight onto the stage. Luna Parker's body stiffened slightly. She forced a calm smile at me. "Ethan, you're here? I knew you'd understand me." "Jake, he understand." I cut her off and naturally took the microphone from the host. My action stunned everyone. Luna Parker and Jake Miller exchanged a glance, as if wondering why I was so calm. I cleared my throat and let my gaze sweep over every surprised, uncertain face in the audience. "Hello, everyone. I'm Ethan Johnson. Many of you may know me. I am Luna Parker's ex-boyfriend. Today, I'm standing here not to cause trouble, but to offer my blessings." My tone was calm, even carrying a hint of a smile. Luna Parker visibly relaxed, and the smile on her face became much more sincere. She thought I had really come to my senses and was prepared to be a magnanimous bodhisattva. "First, I want to thank Miss Luna Parker for her 5 years of companionship." I paused, looking into her eyes. "During these 5 years, I bought her cars and houses, injected hundreds of millions of dollars in her parents' company, and cleaned up countless trouble she herself caused. I thought all I gave could buy a happy ending." The atmosphere in the audience began to turn strange. Luna Parker's face went white for a moment. I shifted my tone and looked at Jake Miller beside her, my smile even brighter. "Of course, I must also send my blessings to Mr. Jake Miller. I heard you have a terminal illness and only 3 months left to live." A flash of panic crossed Jake Miller's face, but he still nodded in cooperation, putting on a look of frail yet resolute strength. "This is so touching," I applauded. "To fulfill a dying person's final wish, Miss Luna Parker is willing to bear the blame and give him the wedding of his dreams. What a magnificent love." People in the audience began to whisper. "So you're saying Luna Parker called off her engagement and married this dying male best friend?" Mr. Johnson really had it rough. But for the sake of a patient, I suppose it's understandable. Hearing those comments, Luna Parker straightened her back a little more. I smiled. "So, to honor this earth-shattering love, I have decided that as of today, I will officially break up with Miss Luna Parker." I drew out the last syllable, my gaze fixed on Luna Parker's panicked face, "and withdraw all investment from her family's company, Windfall Group, and reclaim all properties I personally gifted to Miss Luna Parker, including but not limited to the villa in Los Angeles and the 3 sports cars in the garage. My voice was not loud, but each word fell like a thunderclap, detonating through the wedding hall. The whole place fell deathly silent. Luna Parker's smile froze completely. She looked at me in disbelief, her lips trembling. "Ethan, what did you say?" I said, "We're over." I handed the microphone back to the stunned MC, looked down at her, and spoke each word deliberately. "Also, I wish you and this fellow cancer patient a long and happy marriage and a long life." After speaking, I stopped looking at her face, which had instantly drained of color, turned, and, amid hundreds of astonished, shocked, sympathetic, and gleeful stares, walked off the stage with composure. Ethan Johnson, stop right there." Luna Parker finally came to her senses. She lifted her skirt and, throwing caution to the wind, chased after me. Her father, George Parker, panicked as well, stumbled over and grabbed my arm. Mr. Johnson, don't be impulsive." Luna was only momentarily confused. "Let me explain. Withdraw investment? Take back all their property? Then the Parker family will be finished. The Windfall Group has long been empty. It's been kept alive solely by funds from my Johnson family. The moment I pull my investment, they'll have to declare bankruptcy tomorrow." I shrugged off his hand and looked at him coldly. "Mr. Parker, your daughter and I are no longer connected. Why should my money be spent on an outsider?" "No, that's not it. Ethan." Luna Parker finally caught up. She grabbed my arm tightly, her beautiful eyes brimming with tears, looking pitiful. "It's you I love. It's always been you. Jake and I were just feeling sorry for him. Yes, I only felt sorry for him." She began to speak without thinking. Jake Miller on stage went pale as iron. I looked at her, feeling a deep sense of irony. In a last life, she cried and begged me like this, begging me to spare Jake Miller. But now, she cried and begged me, begging me not to spare her company. "Feels sorry for him." I laughed. "Feels sorry enough to wear the wedding dress I bought and marry him in front of friends and family. I don't have to marry him. I won't marry him now," she said desperately, even trying to take off the wedding dress. "Ethan, let's go home. Let's go home and talk it over, okay? Go home." I pulled my arm away, slowly wiped the place she had just touched with a handkerchief, then threw the handkerchief to the ground in disgust. "Luna Parker, have you forgotten? You're the bride today. Your groom is standing right there." I pointed to Jake Miller on the stage, who was being looked at with strange eyes by all the guests. "Congratulations on your marriage." I dropped those words and walked out of the hotel without looking back. Behind me were Luna Parker's heart-wrenching screams and curses and the complete chaos of the wedding venue falling apart. I knew that my revenge was only just beginning from this moment, and Luna Parker's good days were over. I got back into the car, and my phone immediately started vibrating like crazy. Luna Parker, George Parker, her mom, her brother, everyone in the Parker family was calling me. I didn't pick up a single one. I blocked them all. Then I called the assistant. "Mr. Johnson, notify the legal department to immediately initiate the divestment procedure against Windfall Group. Don't delay for a single second. Also, draw up an asset recovery list and retrieve every single thing I've given to Luna Parker over the years, without missing a single item." "Understood, Mr. Johnson. I'll take care of it once." After hanging up, I started the car and slammed the accelerator. The roar of the engine sounded like the overture to a revenge. The grievances and hatred from my past life seemed still lodged in my soul, clamoring and snarling. But in my heart there was a cold, calm stillness. I went mad once, caused a scene once, and ended everyone's lives in the most tragic way possible, including my own. Reborn into a second life, I don't want to be that hysterical lunatic anymore. I want to be a graceful executioner. I will smile as I watch them, bit by bit, tumble from the clouds into the mire, painfully struggling in despair, and finally be crushed by my own hands. The next day, as soon as the stock market opened, Windfall Group's share price plunged like a waterfall. The news that Johnson Group had withdrawn all its investments spread through the business world as if it had grown wings. The bank's collection calls flooded George Parker's phone. Partners canceled orders one after another, and suppliers stood at the company's doors demanding payment. The once glorious Parker family suddenly found their empire on the brink of collapse overnight. And I was leisurely playing golf in my private club. My assistant Mike stood beside me, reporting the latest situation. "Mr. Johnson, The Parkers are completely in chaos. George Parker tried to use his connections to reach you, but we stopped him. Miss Luna Parker, she has been waiting downstairs at our company since yesterday, wanting to see you. Oh. I took a swing. The little white ball traced a beautiful arc through the air. Let her wait. There's one more thing. Mike paused. Miss Luna Parker's close friend, Miss Sophia Taylor, came to the company looking for you earlier. She said it was urgent. Sophia Taylor? In my mind, a delicate, quiet girl appeared. She was Luna Parker's college roommate and close friend, and in my previous life, the only person who ever shed tears for me. After I caused a scene at the wedding and was driven out, everyone thought I was crazy. Only she chased after me, handed me a tissue, and softly said, "Ethan, don't be sad. It's not worth it." After I died, she was also the only person who ever brought a bouquet to my grave. I didn't have a bad impression of her. "Let her come in," I said. Half an hour later, I met Sophia Taylor in the club's tea room. She was wearing a simple white t-shirt and jeans, barefaced, looking somewhat uneasy. Mr. Johnson, she spoke softly. "Sit down, Miss Taylor." I motioned for her to sit. "What did you want to see me about?" I'm here for Luna." Sophia Taylor twisted her fingers, seeming very nervous. "I know she did something wrong and hurt you. But could you please give her another chance? If the Parker family's company collapses, she'll really have nothing left." I looked at her and smiled. "Miss Taylor, do you think her being like this now is my doing?" Sophia Taylor was stunned. Did I force her to put on a wedding dress and marry someone else? Did I force her to betray our 5 years together over a lie? My voice remained gentle, but my eyes grew cold. Everything she's suffering today is her own choice. She walked that road herself. Why should I pay for her mistakes? I didn't mean that. Sophia Taylor's face went pale. I just feel that Luna, she was confused for a moment. Confused for a moment? I scoffed. "Sophia Taylor, you're her best friend. Don't you know what kind of person she is? She's not confused, she's greedy. She wants the comfortable life I can give her, and she can't let go of the so-called spiritual comfort Jake Miller gives her. There's no such thing in this world." Sophia Taylor was left speechless by my question, her eyes slowly reddening. "Mr. Johnson, I know nothing I say will help. But, please, you and Luna did love each other once. For the sake of the past, help her. Feelings." I lifted the teacup and blew on it gently. Our feelings vanished the moment she chose to put on that wedding dress. I looked at the innocent, kind-hearted girl before me, and suddenly a new plan formed in my mind. In the last life, she shed tears for me. In this life, I will make her smile for me. Besides, I want to make her smile and watch Luna Parker cry. "Miss Taylor," I set down my teacup, leaned forward slightly, and stared in her eyes. "Do you really want to help her?" Sophia Taylor nodded vigorously. "Fine." I smiled. "Go back and tell Luna Parker that if she wants me to save her company, that's possible. Have her come to room 1808 at the Cloud Top Hotel tonight at 10 o'clock. Alone." Sophia Taylor's face went ashen in an instant. She was not an inexperienced little girl. Of course she understood what my words meant. How can you?" Her voice was trembling. "How can you make such a demand?" "Why can't I?" I leaned back on the sofa and said slowly, "She herself burned her bridges, and now she comes back begging me. I'm just settling accounts with her." "What, you don't want that?" "If you don't, let her wait for bankruptcy proceedings and spend the rest of her life carrying tens of millions of dollars in debt." Sophia Taylor trembled with anger, tears welling in her eyes. "The decision is up to her, not me." I spread my hands. "You can tell her exactly what I said. Whether she goes or not, that's her choice." Sophia Taylor bit her lip and looked at me for a long time. Finally, as if she had made up her mind, she stood up abruptly. "Ethan, I really misjudged you before." She threw that line over her shoulder and ran out. I watched her retreating figure, the smile at the corner of my mouth deepening. I knew she would definitely spread the word. I also knew that Luna Parker would definitely come. At 10 o'clock at night, the doorbell of room 1808 at Cloud Top Hotel rang on time. I opened the door, and standing outside was indeed Luna Parker. She wore exquisite makeup and a black silk camisole dress, the hem very short, barely covering the top of her thighs. Her shapely curves were faintly visible in the dim corridor light of the hotel. She was clearly dressed up with care. Only that beautiful face was written all over with humiliation and unwillingness. "Ethan," she said, her voice trembling slightly. I said nothing, only stepped aside to let her in. She walked into the room, and I closed the door. Only a dim floor lamp was lit in the room, the atmosphere ambiguously perfect. I walked to the bar and poured myself a glass of red wine, without asking if she wanted any. She stood awkwardly in the center of the room, clutching her small purse with both hands like a prisoner awaiting judgment. "Sit." I swirled the wine in my glass and said lightly. She sat down on the sofa, sitting very stiffly, taking up only a third of the space. "Ethan, I'm here." She lifted her head, eyes shimmering with moisture. "You said you'd save our company, right?" I walked up to her and looked down at her from above. Her perfume, it was still the one I used to like most, No Man's Land Rose. "It's a pity. Now it just smells cheap and acrid." "Save your company?" I laughed, reached out, and with my fingertips lightly brushed her smooth collarbone. "Luna Parker, do you think you're worth that price?" Her body went rigid, and her face instantly turned deathly pale. "You, what do you mean?" "What I mean is," I withdrew my hand, walked to the sofa opposite her and sat down, crossing one leg over the other. "You know better than I do how big the hole in Parker Group is. Filling that hole would require at least $500 million in cash flow. Do you think one night of yours is worth $500 million? Humiliation, anger, embarrassment, various emotions intertwined on her face. Her lips were bitten white, her body trembling slightly with fury. "Ethan, you bastard." She finally couldn't hold back and growled. "You called me here just to humiliate me?" "Humiliate you?" I sounded as if I'd heard a ridiculous joke. "Luna Parker, you came of your own accord. I didn't force you." "What? Are you putting on the innocent, virtuous act now? When you betrayed me at the wedding, didn't you ever think this day might come?" My words were like a knife, ruthlessly plunged into her heart. She instantly deflated, tears falling in big drops. "I was wrong. Ethan, I really know I was wrong," she cried. "Please forgive me this once, okay? I'll never do it again. I only love you." The same old line again. I heard it so often my ears were about to get calluses. "That's enough. Stop crying." I interrupted her impatiently. "Tears mean nothing to me." I stood up, walked to her side, bent down, and leaned toward her ear, speaking in a voice only the two of us could hear. "If you want me to help you, fine. Show a little sincerity." "You? What kind of sincerity do you want?" she asked, her voice trembling. I smiled faintly and said nothing. I simply reached out and gently hooked the strap of her dress. Her body jolted violently, staring at me like a startled fawn, her eyes filled with fear and resistance. "No, don't." I raised an eyebrow. "Then get out. Wait and see tomorrow when the news says your father jumped off a building because he couldn't pay his debts." "You." She was so angry her whole body trembled, but she couldn't utter a single word. I released my grip, straightened up, and looked at her with leisurely composure. "I'll give you 3 seconds to decide." 3, 2. I agree," she said. Before I finished counting to 1, she closed her eyes and uttered those words in despair, as if pronouncing her own death sentence. I smiled. I knew she would agree. For money, for that ridiculous vanity of hers, she would do anything. I walked to the bedside, took off my coat, then turned back to look at her. "Come here." There wasn't a trace of feeling in my voice. It sounded like I was ordering a lifeless doll. She opened her eyes. The tears in them had already dried, leaving only numbness and emptiness. She stood up and, step by step, walked toward me. The high heels trod on the carpet, producing a dull sound. Each step felt like it was trampling on her dignity. She walked up to me, stopped, then slowly lifted her hand and rested it on her strap. At that moment, the air in the room seemed to freeze. I looked at her, at the woman I had loved for 5 years and hated for a lifetime, who in front of me tore apart the last shred of her own modesty with her own hands. In my heart, there was not a trace of pity, only the thrill of revenge. "Luna Parker, this is only the beginning. I will make you understand that the consequences of betraying me are far more miserable than you can imagine." The next morning, sunlight streamed in through the gap in the curtains. I opened my eyes. The space beside me was already empty. The air still held a lingering trace of intimacy. I got up and walked into the bathroom to take a shower. When I came out, I saw Luna Parker already dressed and sitting on the sofa waiting for me. Her face looked awful, with heavy dark circles under her eyes. Clearly she hadn't slept all night. When she saw me, she immediately stood up, a trace of hope and nervousness in her eyes. "Ethan, now, can you inject capital into Dad's company?" she asked cautiously. I wiped my hair and walked up to her, appraising her from head to toe. Then I laughed. She laughed loudly, really heartily. She looked baffled by my laughter, her complexion growing paler and paler. Ew, what are you laughing at? You're being naive, Luna Parker. I stopped laughing and looked at her, my eyes full of mockery. You don't actually think that sleeping with me once would make me pull out $500 million to clean up your family's mess, do you? The color drained from her face in an instant. What did you say? Her voice trembled. You didn't say that yesterday. What did I say yesterday? I tilted my head and asked, feigning puzzlement. I only said that if you showed some sincerity, I might help you. I never said I would definitely help you. You lied to me. She finally snapped to attention and screamed. Deceive you? I snorted, pulled out a wad of cash from my wallet, and flung it at her feet. I didn't sleep with you for nothing. This should buy you several new outfits. Oh, right. You probably can't afford any nice clothes now. Take it. Consider it your hard-earned pay. Those few red bills slapped her face like a hand. Her body wavered, almost unable to stand. Ethan, you're not human, she screamed at me hysterically. Not a human? I stepped closer to her, my gaze chillingly cold. Then what about you two? You and that bastard Jake Miller, who lied to me that he was dying while comfortably spending my money and cheating on me. We're suddenly human then. You and your father treated me like an ATM, squeezing every bit of value out of me while calling me an idiot behind my back. Were you human then? Luna Parker, don't act so innocent. Everything you're suffering today is your own fault. Each sentence I spoke was like a needle driving deep into her heart. She collapsed to the ground in a helpless slump, crying out in anguish. I looked at her disheveled state, and not a single ripple of feeling stirred in me. I crouched down, grabbed her chin, and forced her to look at me. Remember, this is only the beginning. I will make you watch, wide-eyed, as everything you hold dear is, bit by bit, completely destroyed by me. After speaking, I let go, stood up, and straightened my clothes. Get out. Don't dirty my place. I opened the door and made a please gesture toward her. She crawled up from the floor in a daze, like a wandering spirit staggering out. Watching her desperate back, the curve at the corner of my mouth grew larger and larger. Luna Parker, the game has only just begun. After I humiliated Luna Parker, she completely collapsed. But she did not give up. Or rather, it was George Parker who didn't give up. The Windfall Group was struggling on the brink of bankruptcy. George Parker begged everyone he could think of, but met rejection at every turn. Who in the business world didn't know he had offended me? Ethan Johnson. Anyone who dared help him at this point would be opposing the Johnsons. A few days later, the court summons and the notice of asset freeze were delivered together to the Parker household. All properties, vehicles, and bank accounts under their name were frozen and sealed. Overnight, the Parker family fell from the clouds into hell. Luna Parker called me countless times and sent countless text messages, starting with curses at first, then turning into pleas and finally into despair. I didn't read a single one. I had my assistant handle it. A week later, someone unexpected contacted me. Jake Miller. He asked to meet me at a cafe, saying he had something important to tell me. I would very much like to see what other tricks that dog bastard can pull. When I arrived, Jake Miller was already there. A few days had passed, and he looked much haggard, the gloom in his eyes almost spilling over. Mr. Johnson. He saw me and forced a smile. Spit out. I didn't bother with pleasantries and sat directly across from him. He didn't care about my attitude and got straight to the point. I know. You hate Luna, and you hate me. You want revenge on us. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. Looks like you're not completely stupid. But what you're doing will only bankrupt her, leave her penniless. That's not painful enough for her. A strange light flickered in Jake Miller's eyes. I know a way to make her wish she were dead. I'm interested. Tell me, Luna, what she cares about most is her face and that so-called best friend of hers, Sophia Taylor. Jake Miller said in a low voice. If you can make Sophia Taylor break off with her, or even take Sophia Taylor away from her, that would hurt her more than killing her. I looked at Jake Miller as if I were looking at a monster. To get back at Luna Parker, he actually came up with such a vicious scheme. These earth-shattering lovers really do love and kill each other. Why should I believe you? I asked. Because I hate her too. Jake Miller's expression instantly turned savage. That bitch. She got together with me back, then just to use me to piss you off. Now that you don't want her, she vents all her anger on me. Calls me a loser, a burden. If she weren't still somewhat useful to me, I would have cut ties with her ages ago. So that's it. What do you want? I asked. $1 million. Jake Miller held up a finger. Give me $1 million, and I'll take care of Sophia Taylor for you. I know what Sophia Taylor likes. I know her weaknesses. As long as you cooperate with me, I guarantee I can make Sophia Taylor fall head over heels for you. And then she'll dump Luna Parker without looking back. I smiled. Those two lovers really hadn't changed a bit. One of them would sell her body and dignity for money. Someone who can sell out lovers and friends for money. A perfect match. All right. I nodded. Once it's done, $1 million will be wired into your account. Pleasure doing business with you. Jake Miller showed a greedy smile. I ignored him and stood up, leaving the cafe. Of course, I wasn't actually going to cooperate with him. I just wanted to see how far he could carry this act. As for Sophia Taylor, I don't need scum like Jake Miller to help me at all. Because I know that Sophia Taylor has always had me in her heart. All I need is an opportunity, a chance for her to see Luna Parker's true colors and willingly stand by my side. And that opportunity arrived very soon. The Parker family's company ultimately couldn't hold on and declared bankruptcy. George Parker was investigated and soon arrested on multiple charges, including illegal fundraising and financial fraud. The Parker household fell apart overnight. When the tree fell, the monkeys scattered. Luna Parker and her mother were driven out of the villa, burdened with tens of millions of dollars in debt. Once the darling of everyone, the young miss has now become a pariah everyone wants to beat. When the creditors couldn't find George Parker, they set their sights on Luna Parker. They blocked the entrance to her rundown rental, splashed paint, scrawled slogans, and used every means to force her to pay. Luna Parker was completely driven to desperation. The only person she could think of who could save her was still me. That night, I was in the dessert shop run by Sophia Taylor, helping her develop new items. Sophia Taylor was a gentle, quiet girl. She didn't talk much, but she always made people feel comfortable. She liked baking, and her dream was to open a dessert shop of her own. In her previous life, just as her shop was getting started, it was sabotaged by the bankrupt Luna Parker. Luna Parker went into the shop and caused a huge scene, claiming Sophia Taylor had stolen her man, ruined her family, and smashed the place to pieces. Sophia Taylor never recovered because of it. In this life, I won't let that happen again. I anonymously invested in her shop and helped her solve all the initial problems. Now, watching her under the bright lights, carefully frosting the cake, I felt a rare warmth in my heart. Try this. She scooped a piece of the freshly made mousse with a small spoon and held it to my lips, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me like a kitten waiting for its owner's praise. I opened my mouth and ate it. It melted in my mouth, sweet without being cloying. "This is delicious," I said sincerely. She smiled happily, her brows and eyes curved like a crescent moon. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I picked up, and Luna Parker's voice came through the phone, weak and urgent. "Ethan, save me. There are several men blocking my front door. They said, if I don't pay them back tonight, they'll sell me off to Southeast Asia. I'm begging you. Could you lend me some money? $500,000. No, $300,000 will do. I'll repay you by working myself to the bone." Her voice was full of fear and despair. I listened but felt nothing. I glanced at Sophia Taylor across from me. She was looking at me with curiosity. A plan formed in my mind in an instant. "Where are you?" I asked. She gave an address. "Wait for me there." After hanging up, I said to Sophia Taylor, "Something urgent came up. I have to go out." Sophia Taylor nodded and asked with some concern, "Is it Luna? Is she okay?" "I don't know." I put on my coat and looked at her. "Do you want to come with me to take a look?" Sophia Taylor froze for a moment, then nodded. I knew she still couldn't let go of Luna Parker, but it didn't matter. After tonight, she would give up completely. I was driving with Sophia Taylor and arrived at the dilapidated complex where Luna Parker was renting. Just downstairs, I saw several burly men with floral tattoos surrounding a woman. That woman was Luna Parker. She had been pushed to the ground, her hair disheveled, her face still bearing bruises, looking utterly miserable. "Filthy bitch. Pay up." A bald big man grabbed her hair and cursed viciously. I really don't have any money." Luna Parker cried, begging for mercy. "No money? Then use your body to pay your debt. The brothers haven't had a taste in a long time." A few men let out lecherous laughs and began to grope her. Sophia Taylor in the car was frantic when she saw this. "Hurry, call the police. Don't panic." I held her hand, motioning for her to keep watching. Just as the men were about to drag Luna Parker away, a van sped over and stopped in front of them. Several people jumped down from the car, and the one leading them was Jake Miller. "Stop!" Jake Miller shouted, charging forward with his men. The burly men obviously hadn't expected anyone to interfere and were taken aback for a moment. "Who the hell are you? How dare you meddle in my business?" the bald big man cursed. Jake Miller scoffed and pulled out a steel pipe from behind him. A chaotic brawl erupted. Of course, I had arranged all of it. Those so-called creditors were actors I hired with money. And Jake Miller was the male lead in this whole hero saves beauty drama. I wanted Sophia Taylor to see with her own eyes that when the person she worried about most, her best friend, was at her lowest and most helpless, the one by her side fighting for her was that rotten guy, Jake Miller, she had always looked down on. And I, the ex she pinned her hopes on, was nothing but a cold onlooker. Before long, those creditors were driven off by Jake Miller. Jake Miller threw away the steel pipe and rushed to Luna Parker's side, anxiously helping her up. "Luna, are you okay?" Luna Parker threw herself into his arms and burst into tears. "I'm so scared. I thought I was dead." "Don't be afraid. I'm here." Jake Miller held her tightly, his eyes full of deep affection. "I won't let anyone hurt you." In the car, Sophia Taylor watched the scene and was completely stunned. Her lips were slightly parted, her eyes full of disbelief. How could they? Surprised, I looked at her and said lightly, "When you came to beg me for her, worrying that her company might go bankrupt, she had long since gotten back together with that man." "No, impossible." Sophia Taylor shook her head, her face pale. "Luna clearly hates Jake." "Hates?" I laughed. "Sophia Taylor, you're too naive. Someone like Luna Parker never truly hates anyone. She only loves herself. Now that she's cornered, Jake Miller is the only person willing to help her, so of course she'll cling to him like a lifesaver. But where would Jake get the money to help her? Isn't he also?" "He certainly has no money," I interrupted her. "His money is mine." Sophia Taylor turned her head sharply, staring at me in shock. "What?" I told her about my deal with Jake Miller. Of course, I omitted the part about Jake Miller wanting to use her to get back at Luna Parker, and only said that I had Jake Miller put on an act to test Luna Parker. "I just want you to see clearly what your so-called best friend really is," I said, looking into her eyes and enunciating each word. "She is not worth you worrying about or pleading for." Tears streamed down Sophia Taylor's face in an instant. She wasn't crying for Luna Parker, but for her own naivety and foolishness. Her best friend, behind her back, had been putting on a play with the person she hated most, and she had been completely kept in the dark. And she, still foolishly running around for this friend, worrying. This was simply a colossal joke. Downstairs, that through thick and thin couple of protagonists were still locked in a deep embrace. I started the car. "The show is over. We should leave." Sophia Taylor said nothing, only quietly wiped away her tears. I knew that from that moment on, the fragile friendship between her and Luna Parker had been definitively ended. After that night, Sophia Taylor never mentioned Luna Parker's name in front of me again. It was as if she had completely deleted him from her life. She poured all her energy into her dessert shop, and I became the most loyal customer in her shop. I went there every day, sometimes to help her develop new items, sometimes just to sit quietly in a corner and watch her bustling figure. Our relationship slowly warmed under an unspoken understanding. I knew she felt more for me than just gratitude. Her eyes didn't lie, and I found myself increasingly enjoying being with her. There was a calming strength about her. She was pure, kind, and beautiful like a blank sheet of paper. When I was with her, I could temporarily forget the bloodshed and hatred of my past life. That day, I arrived at the shop as usual. She saw me, her eyes lighting up. Then she took a beautifully wrapped box out from under the counter. "This is for you." She handed the box to me, a faint blush of shyness on her face. "What is it?" I asked with a smile. "Open it and you'll see." I opened the box. Inside was a beautifully made tiramisu cake. On the cake, written in chocolate sauce, was a line in Italian. "Tiramisu. Tiramisu, She nodded and said softly, "It means, take me away." My heart leapt violently. I raised my head and met her clear, expectant eyes. The air was filled with the sweet scent of cake and a faint, almost imperceptible hint of romance. I set the cake down, stepped forward, closing the distance between us. I could clearly see her long eyelashes trembling slightly. "Sophia Taylor," I looked in her eyes and asked seriously, "Would you be my girlfriend?" Her face flushed completely in an instant. She didn't speak, only nodded vigorously. The next second, I lowered my head and kissed her. Her lips were exactly as I had imagined, soft, sweet, with a hint of cream. This kiss was light, gentle, completely different from the ones I had given Luna Parker before that were full of revenge and possessiveness. It was a kiss full of cherishing and love. When the kiss ended, she leaned against me, breathless, her face flushed as if it might bleed. From today on, you are my woman, Ethan Johnson. I held her and domineeringly announced in her ear. She was in my arms and softly went That sound was like a kitten's paw, gently scratching at my heart. The news that I was with Sophia Taylor spread quickly. I didn't hide it on purpose. I even posted our photo together pretty ostentatiously on Moments. I knew this news would definitely reach Luna Parker's ears. Sure enough, before long I received a call from Luna Parker. The moment she answered, she launched into a hysterical interrogation. Ethan, what do you mean? You with that bitch Sophia Taylor? Yes. I replied calmly. Why are you doing this to me? Are you doing this to get revenge on me? So you seduced my best friend. Let me correct you, I interrupted. First, I didn't seduce her. It was mutual. Second, she's no longer your best friend. You lie. Sophia Taylor could never betray me. Is that so? I laughed. Then you can call her right now and see if she still answers. Silence on the other end of the line. I could imagine how flustered she must be at this moment. Ethan, you'll regret this. Sophia Taylor is nothing but a manipulative bitch. She's been eyeing you for a long time. She tricked you. She began to curse Sophia Taylor thoughtlessly. Enough. My voice cooled. Luna Parker, I'm warning you. You are not to use any filthy words to describe her again. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that your hero Jake Miller won't suddenly have some accident. My threat worked. The curses on the other end of the line stopped abruptly. Also, I continued, don't call me again. I don't want my girlfriend to be upset because of you. After speaking, I hung up immediately and then blocked her number again. The most effective way to deal with someone like Luna Parker is to make her see that I'm living 100, even 1,000 times better than she is. Make her watch as I give to another woman the affection I once gave her, doubled. And that woman is the best friend she once looked down on and dismissed as insignificant. This will hurt her more than killing her. Luna Parker did indeed go to find Sophia Taylor. That afternoon, she burst into the dessert shop like a lunatic. There were still quite a few customers in the shop at the time. Sophia Taylor, you bitch, come out here. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes bloodshot, like a demon collecting a debt. Sophia Taylor was busy in the back kitchen and came out when she heard the voice. Seeing Luna Parker's appearance, she frowned. What are you doing here? Sophia Taylor's tone was very cold. What am I doing here? I'm here to ask you why you stole my man. Luna Parker shouted, pointing at Sophia Taylor's nose. I treated you as my best friend, and you stabbed me in the back. Have you no shame? The shop's customers were stunned by this sudden scene, and one after another took out their phones to start taking photos and videos. Sophia Taylor simply looked at Luna Parker calmly, as if she were looking at an unreasonable stranger. Luna Parker, get this straight. First, Ethan was never your man. The moment you decided to marry Jake Miller, it was over between you two. Second, my relationship with him is perfectly above board. I didn't take anything from anyone. You're lying. Luna Parker screamed. You're nothing but the other woman. A manipulative bitch. She cursed as she lunged forward to hit Sophia Taylor. I arrived after getting the message and saw exactly this scene. I lunged forward in one stride and grabbed Luna Parker's wrist. Were you crazy? I yanked hard and threw her to the side. She staggered a few steps and fell to the ground. I quickly moved beside Sophia Taylor, positioned her behind me, and checked anxiously. Did she hurt you? Sophia Taylor shook her head, her face still somewhat pale. Lying on the ground, Luna Parker saw how tense I was with Sophia Taylor. The jealousy and hatred in her eyes were almost burning with fire. Ethan, you pushed me for this bitch. She pointed at me in disbelief. I'll say it again. Don't you dare insult her. My gaze was as cold as ice. Also, you're not welcome here. Get out right now. I'm not leaving. This is my best friend's shop. Why should I leave? She threw a tantrum. She's no longer your best friend, I said coldly. And besides, this shop is mine. Those words not only stunned Luna Parker, they also made Sophia Taylor look up in surprise. Ethan, I took her hand and gave her a reassuring look. Then I took out my phone and dialed the security department. Hello. Send a few people up and drag out a crazy woman who's causing trouble in my shop. In less than 2 minutes, several tall security guards rushed in. Mr. Johnson, throw her out for me. I pointed at Luna Parker on the floor. Yes. 2 security guards stepped forward, one on each side, hoisted Luna Parker like they were dragging a dead dog, and dragged her out. Let go of me. Let go of me. Ethan, Sophia Taylor, you miserable lovers. Even as a ghost, I won't let you off. Luna Parker's curses faded into the distance until they disappeared outside the door. The customers in the shop were whispering and pointing at us. I had the staff calm the customers, then pulled Sophia Taylor back to the kitchen's break room. I'm sorry, I said, closing the door and looking at her. I didn't mean to keep it from you, I know. Sophia Taylor interrupted me, looking at me with tears in her eyes. Thank you. She thanked me not only because I'd stood up for her just now, but even more because I had made her see Luna Parker's true colors, freeing her from that toxic friendship. I pulled her into my arms and gently patted her back. From now on, no one will dare bully you again. She nodded vigorously in my arms. From that day on, Luna Parker and Sophia Taylor officially broke off, and Luna Parker's life began to accelerate as it slid into a deeper abyss. After I kicked her out of the dessert shop, Luna Parker completely became the laughingstock of the circle. The video of her making a scene in her best friend's shop and being publicly humiliated by her ex went viral. Everyone knew that the former Miss Parker had now become a complete lunatic. Her debt problems became even more troublesome because of this fame. Creditors, having seen her tantrums and tricks, stopped wasting words and resorted to harsher measures. The apartment she rented was smashed to pieces. She was blocked when she went out, and once a few debt collectors stripped her naked and threw her onto the street. There was no dignity left in her life. And during this time, what was the man who once showed her such deep affection and loyalty, Jake Miller, doing? He was living carefreely and happily with the $1 million I had given him. He rented a luxury apartment, bought a new car, and cycled through several young, beautiful companions. As for Luna Parker, he had long since thrown her to the winds. With nowhere else to turn, Luna Parker could only once again pin her hopes on Jake Miller. She went to Jake Miller and begged him for help, sobbing. Jake Miller looked at the gaunt, dust-covered woman before him, his dislike plainly visible. Help you? With what am I supposed to help you? He sneered. I'm barely making ends meet myself. Aren't you rich? Didn't you just buy a new car a few days ago? Luna Parker demandif. That money, I earned it myself through hard work. Why should I give it to you? Jake Miller said, utterly convinced. Jake Miller, you ungrateful bastard. If it weren't for me back then, would you be where you are today? Luna Parker trembled with anger. You? Jake Miller sounded as if he'd heard the funniest joke. Luna Parker, are you out of your mind? You were the one clinging to me like a leech, using me to make Ethan jealous. Now that Ethan dumped you, you want to come crawling back to me? Do you think I'm a trash dump? You? Luna Parker was so furious at his shameless words that she couldn't utter a single sound. She finally saw clearly that this man had been using her from beginning to end. So-called love, so-called loyalty, it's all bullshit. In despair, Luna Parker did the most foolish thing. She stole Jake Miller's money. While Jake Miller wasn't paying attention, she took the $100,000+ in cash he had at home, preparing to run. But she hadn't run far when Jake Miller caught her. Jake Miller dragged her back to the apartment, shut the door, and gave her a brutal, inhumane beating. He broke one of her legs and beat her face until it was unrecognizable. You filthy bitch. Dare steal my money. You must be tired of living. He hit her while shouting insults. Luna Parker's screams echoed through the entire hallway. But no one called the police, and no one came to save her. This world is just that coldly realistic. When you're in the spotlight, everyone orbits around you. When you're down and out, even if you die by the roadside, no one will spare you a second glance. When Jake Miller had grown tired, he looked at Luna Parker on the ground like a puddle of muck, his eyes even more vicious. He took out his phone and photographed and recorded Luna Parker at her most disheveled and humiliating. Then he sent these things to me, with an added line. Mr. Johnson, are you satisfied with this great gift? I looked at the photos on my phone. Luna Parker had been beaten until her face was bruised and swollen, her whole body injured, her eyes hollow and numb, like a soulless rag doll. I felt not a shred of sympathy. I just feel it's still not enough. This bit of pain is nothing compared to what I endured in my last life. I replied to Jake Miller with 2 words, continue. Then I called my assistant. Go investigate Jake Miller and dig up all his dirt for me. The more the better. Someone like Jake Miller definitely has something dirty under his belt. I want him and Luna Parker, that couple of scoundrels, to go to hell together. While Luna Parker was being imprisoned by Jake Miller and living a fate worse than death, I proposed to Sophia Taylor. In an elaborately arranged seaside restaurant, beneath a sky filled with dazzling fireworks, I dropped to one knee and took out the diamond ring I had prepared long ago. Sophia Taylor, will you marry me? Sophia Taylor covered her mouth, and tears immediately streamed down her face. She cried and laughed, nodding vigorously. I slipped the ring onto her ring finger, then stood up and held her tightly in my arms. The guests around us erupted in enthusiastic applause and well wishes. Our wedding is set for 1 month from now. I gave Sophia Taylor an extravagantly luxurious, once-in-a-century wedding. After the wedding ended, I immediately had someone call the police and report Jake Miller for illegal detention and intentional injury. The police quickly located Jake Miller's apartment. Caught red-handed and with multiple offenses, Jake Miller could forget about ever getting out of prison in this lifetime. As for Luna Parker, as the victim, she was rescued. But her mind had completely collapsed. She became hysterical, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing, constantly murmuring my name. She was sent to a psychiatric hospital. I went to see her once. Through the thick glass, I saw her in a blue and white striped hospital gown, huddled in the corner, eyes blank, drooling. The beauty she once took pride in was completely gone. Her life, too, was utterly ruined. I looked at her and felt not a single ripple in my heart. This is the consequence of her betrayal. I turned and left that place filled with the smell of disinfectant. Outside, the sun was just right. Sophia Taylor was driving and waiting for me at the door. Wife, let's go on our honeymoon. Okay, where do you want to go? Somewhere that's just the two of us. Okay. She smiled and started the car. Sunlight poured over us, warm and beautiful. After I stopped being a simp, my life became exceptionally carefree.